Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks to the Cold War integration and the addition of over 30 new weapons with Season 1, the meta in Warzone right now is more expansive than ever, and we've got a ton of weapons that are honestly pretty competitive, especially when it comes to the assault rifle category, which for the most part has been the most dominant class when it comes to the best meta weapons in game. So today we're going through and ranking every single assault rifle we currently have here in Warzone, and we're also going over the best loadout for each of them as well. So if you enjoy the video at any point, let me know by dropping a like on it. And of course, if you're new to the channel or if you're not already subscribed, this is the best place to be to find the latest Call of Duty news, intel, setups, all that stuff. So if you like what you see, feel free to subscribe and maybe even turn on those post notifications. Now, when it comes to the assault rifles here in Warzone, we actually have 19 at this point, and I didn't realize it was that high of a number until I went to go get footage for this video, but that's almost the same amount of weapons that Cold War had at launch in just one category, so we definitely have a lot to go over here. Mainly, of course, we are just focused on the rifles, obviously. However, I will mention a couple secondaries that I'd recommend to, complete these loadouts for any of these weapons, and that'll happen towards the end of the video. But at number 19, in dead last by a pretty decent margin, we've got the Modern Warfare SCAR. I mean, this thing could be really good, but ultimately it is just too slow. It doesn't have a large enough magazine, and then also the recoil just isn't worth trying to control compared to using a weapon that's just better in all three of those areas. That said, if this thing had like a 45 round or a 50 round mag, it would probably jump up a few spots just because it is a powerhouse weapon, but for now it's just not that good, plain and simple. But here I run the monolithic suppressor, the 20-inch LB barrel for better range and control, the Commando foregrip for better control, the 30-round mags, and then also the rubberized grip tape for better control as well. Now at number 18, I've got the Modern Warfare FAMAS, aka the FR-556, which just is a very inconsistent weapon, and it's not that ideal to use compared to the vast majority of other weapons in the game, especially the rifles. I think the high point for the FR-556 was when the underbarrel shotgun glitch was happening. That was the best this weapon would ever be. And obviously, since that's gone, the FAMAS just is not the wave anymore. It's a burst weapon, so it's awkward to use in general, especially when it's not super strong. However, if you do want to run it, I would recommend using the monolithic suppressor, the sniper barrel for better range, the 60-round mag, the stipple grip tape, and also the hollow sight with the blue dot or any other optic you prefer more. Then next up at number 17, we've got the AS-VAL, which I feel like is the least assault rifle-like weapon in the category. This thing really just feels like a very strong SMG, and because of that, it is really good in those close range fights. But everywhere else, it's just kind of meh. You know, it's not going to perform very well in the range or control departments past those close range engagements. And for that reason, it falls pretty low on the list. Now here I've got the OSA barrel for better range and control, the TAC laser for better speed and stability, the Merc foregrip for better control, the 30-round mags, which unfortunately is the largest option there, then finally the stippled grip tape for better mobility as well. Now at number 16, we've got the Modern Warfare ODEN, the strongest rifle in the class, and this thing does in fact hit like a truck. It's got damage through the roof. However, it suffers from the same problems that the SCAR does. It is very heavy, it's got a lot of recoil, and it doesn't have a huge magazine. So for that reason, it does suffer quite a bit. But because it is just so powerful, it can be usable if you're willing to look past its rather noticeable drawbacks, right? But here I've got the Colossus suppressor, which is actually better than the monolithic, simply for the fact that it reduces the recoil and extends the range. Then I've got the 730mm barrel, the Commando foregrip, the rubberized grip tape, then also the VLK 3x optic for better control and visibility. Now, the 15 and 14 spots are kind of peculiar. At number 15, I've got the Cold War AK-47, which I won't lie, I thought was going to be just absolutely insane here in Warzone, because in Cold War multiplayer, it is easily the best rifle we have. However, here in Warzone, the recoil got adjusted a ton, and now it has pretty bad controls, so you have to work a lot more to actually stay on target. And also, you don't really have as many recoil reducing attachments as you do in Modern Warfare, so it's not like the most ideal weapon to use. However, at the end of the day, it is still pretty powerful for what it's worth. Now here I am running the GRAU suppressor for better range, the VDV reinforced barrel for better range and velocity, the Spetsnaz grip for better control, the 45 round speed mag, and then finally the skeletal stock for better mobility. Then at number 14, I've got the Modern Warfare AK-47, which overall to me just feels way easier to use, And do keep in mind, it has very similar damage, so obviously it's going to be just slightly better than the Cold War version. So on the Modern Warfare AK, I've got the monolithic suppressor, the Romanian barrel for better range and control, the 40-round mags, the rubberized grip tape, then also the VLK 3x optic yet again. Moving on though, at number 13, I've got the QBZ. Unfortunately, the time to kill on the QBZ compared to a lot of the other Cold War rifles really is not great. However, if you are accurate, this thing can be a pretty decent close and medium range rifle. In fact, most of the Cold War rifles seem to be built around the close and medium range engagements. Their range and velocity just suffer a lot at those longer distances, but the QBZ is just overall a very easy weapon to use that yields decent damage, I guess, so it's sort of a middle of the pack weapon. Now here I've got the agency suppressor for better range, the task force barrel for better damage, range, and velocity, the field agent grip for better control, the 45-round speed mag, and then also the microflex LED or any optic you prefer more. At number 12 now, I've got the AN-94, the icon itself, but as we know, the original AN-94 from Black Ops 2 was far better than the AN-94 that we've got here in Modern Warfare and Warzone. It's a decently easy weapon to use, however its damage is not the best, so again it falls to, I guess, the middle here as a versatile weapon that's just average at best. And here I use the monolithic suppressor, the X 438mm barrel for better range and control, the commando foregrip, the 60-round mags, and then also the VLK 3x optic once more. Now, falling just out of the top 10, I've got the Modern Warfare FAL at number 11, which at one point was one of the best, if not the best, close range weapon in the game. But after some nerfs, now it's just a decent weapon that unfortunately has a higher skill gap because it is semi-auto at the end of the day. But it does still pack a punch when you're able to consistently land your shots, and for that, I feel like it deserves a bit of a higher spot on the list. So on the FAL, I've got the monolithic suppressor, I know, huge surprise. I've also got the marksman barrel for better range and control, the tac laser once more, the icon itself, the stippy grippy, then the close quarters stock for better mobility. Now, at number 10, I've got the Cold War XM4, which again is just a decent rifle to use in close and medium range fights. Not so much at longer ranges just because the damage does really fall off, but this one is super easy to use. It's got almost no recoil whatsoever, and it is a very consistent weapon when you use it where it excels the most. And here I've got the agency suppressor, the task force barrel, the field agent grip for better control, the 45-round speed mag, and then the microflex LED optic. At number 9, I've got the FFAR, which to me is a rifle that you really want to be using in those close and medium range fights. At long range, it is almost useless because of the recoil and the damage drop-off, but up close, this thing can compete with SMGs all day long, especially because its damage up close is so good. Now here I've got the agency suppressor again, the reinforced heavy barrel for better range, the field agent foregrip, the 50-round fast mag, and then also the Raider stock for better mobility, which seriously improves the strafing speed. It feels like you are pretty much using an SMG. Then for number 8, we've got the newest Cold War rifle, or I guess the newest rifle in general, the GROZA. And this thing has one of the best TTKs in close range fights, and overall I'd say it's pretty easy to use when it comes to the control and the mobility as well. So this is actually a really close competitor to, I'd say, the RAM, and in turn it lands pretty high up. So on it, I've got the GRU suppressor, the VDV reinforced barrel, the Spetsnaz grip for better control, the 45-round speed mag, and lastly, the microflex LED yet again. Then coming in at number 7, I've got the Krig, which I would say is the best Cold War rifle in Warzone, just simply because of its versatility. It is really good in close range fights, and it can also hold its own in medium and longer range fights as well. Plus, it almost has no recoil either, so it won't give you much trouble in any given engagement. And here I've got the agency suppressor, the takedown barrel for better range, the field agent grip, the 45-round speed mag, and, you guessed it, the microflex LED. Now at number 6, I've got the Ram 7, and even though most of the Cold War rifles are built for close and medium range fights specifically, the Ram definitely still dominates, and honestly, this is one of my favorite weapons in the entire game, just because it can be paired with so many other weapons, for instance like a Kr-98K or any other sniper, and it can be used as a run and gun style weapon that excels a ton in those close quarters gunfights. Now here we've got the standard setup of the monolithic suppressor, the Ranger barrel, the commando foregrip, the 50-round mags, and then finally the VLK 3x optic. Then moving on to number 5, I've got my personal favorite rifle, the GRAU 5.56, which was also at one point the best weapon in the entire game. However, even though it was nerfed, I still find it to be super easy to use in any given fight, and its damage and range are both still very competitive in the grand scheme of things. And of course, here we've got the monolithic suppressor, the Archangel barrel, the tac laser, the commando foregrip, and also the 60-round mags. Now at number 4, I've got the M13, which personally, I probably would put behind the GRAU on my list, but overall, the M13 definitely has some better range, and its versatility because that faster fire rate is, I would say, a very nice bonus to have when you're fighting at some closer ranges too. And on it, I run the monolithic suppressor, the marksman barrel, the tac laser, the blue dot hollow sight, then also the 60 round mags yet again. Now, breaking into the top 3, at number 3, I've got the Modern Warfare M4A1. And this is a weapon that has been a top contender all year long. This thing has been super consistent really ever since Warzone dropped, and even since Modern Warfare dropped, honestly, so this is kind of a no-brainer pick. And here I've got the monolithic suppressor, the Corvus custom barrel, the commando foregrip, the 60 round mags, then also the Stippy Grippy. Then at number 2, coming in as the second best rifle in Warzone right now, we've got the Kilo 141, which of course has been a top choice for almost every player lately, but recently it did get a slight range nerf, which I feel like opened up that number 1 spot since it was a pretty close battle as is. And on the Kilo, I've got the usual monolithic suppressor, the Prowler barrel, the commando foregrip, the 60 round mags, then also the blue dot hollow sight as well. And of course, that means at number 1, we've got the Cr-56 Amax, which has some absolutely insane power, a really fast TTK at any range, a bit of recoil that you have to learn, but after that, this thing is incredibly dominant and in my mind, the better choice once you master the weapon. And on the Amax, I like to use the monolithic suppressor, I know, crazy idea, alongside the Zodiac barrel, the commando foregrip or the Ranger grip, honestly, either or works. Then I've got the 45 round mag, and lastly, the VOK 3x optic. Now, on any setup, I would recommend either using the MAC-10 right now, since that is definitely the best SMG in the entire game, or a sniper like the Kr-98K if it's a rifle that's based more so around those close range fights. And the setups I use for both of those can be seen on the screen now. Then I'd also recommend using EOD, Overkill, and Amped to start, and then switching to Ghost a bit later on into the match, alongside the Semtex, and finally, the heartbeat sensor. So yeah, there you have it. Those are the best setups for every single rifle here in Warzone, then also where they stand when ranked against one another. And that is going to wrap things up for today. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And, of course, if you're new here and you want to stay up to date with pretty much everything going on in COD, from news to intel to setups and everything else in between, this is the place to be, so feel free to subscribe and maybe even turn on those post notifications. As always, if you want to check out any of my partners, be sure to use code IMMORTAL for a discount on all Scuff, G Fuel, and Control Freak products, and the links for all that can be found down in the description below. But once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.